حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with this month, which is the month of Shaʻbān, which is known as the month of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And among the important dates in this month we have the first 3 nights, which of course we have just celebrated, and tonight will be the 5th night, and thereafter inshallah ta'ala there will come the night of celebrating the birth of our Imam al-Zaman ajjalallahu faraj. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Quran says, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. We shall definitely test you. There is an emphasis in the verb وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ. Lam is for ta'keed and noon is for qasam. We will definitely, and undoubtedly, we will test you all. بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ. Sometimes with little of fear, sometimes with little of hunger, sometimes with losses in your wealth, loss in your earnings, your children, your own lives. Will test you. وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. And then, O Prophet, give glad tidings and good news to those who are forbearing and patient. For whenever they go through such experience of affliction and calamities, they say, to him we belong, and unto him shall we return. When a man passes through these experiences, as we all do, there are 2 categories. One is in our normal, simple lives, where we might not be having any mission in mind, we're just living normal lives with no particular aim in mind, and we do experience such tests and trials and tribulations. But sometimes, and in such circumstances, when a man is just leading life without any particular aim before him, it is very easy to be forbearing, to be patient, and to put up with the trials and tribulations of life. The true test and the real test is when you have been entrusted with a mission to complete, or when you have undertaken some work to complete, and in that mission which you have undertaken you come across impediments and hurdles like these, when suddenly, as you are serving the Ummah and Islam, God forbid, your young son dies, your dear one dies, you sustain some losses. There comes the test where whether a man, after having sustained that loss and that damage, is he still continuing with the mission, or is he abandoning it? That is the test. Because there is every possibility that a man may simply say, now my mind does not work, I have suffered so much that I would like to leave everything and abandon. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ. These are the stages in life when we carry out a test. In spite of the adversities, if you continue and you work incessantly for the fulfillment, then of course you have understood the philosophy of life. To give an example, I would say that there was a time when we were trying to spread Islam among Africans in East Africa, especially the madhab of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. Now the community which is used to such charities, where you build something and the second day you come and inhabit it. Say Imam Bara, the moment is ready, the second day it is in use. The community which builds a madrasa, as soon as it is ready, the madrasa begins. That community which is already embraced Islam and it is a practicing community cannot understand that how much of sacrifice is needed for bringing into the fold a community which has never known your own truth before. So, this work of tabligh is different from that work of tabligh. This is continuation. That is a missionary work. Now remember that there were some people who used to support by financing. And there were some who used to not only oppose Bilal Muslim Mission, but they would go to the donors and tell them that you are wasting your money because these Africans have become Muslims for the sake of money. They are hungry, therefore they have become Muslims. And look at them. They don't know even how to pray. They don't know how to make wudu. These were the things which they used to spread. Over the years, say 25 years, about 4,000 or 5,000 of them became true Muslims. Look at the effort. Look at the money wasted. These are the people who calculate their success in terms of money. What they haven't understood is that there is a mission. And the mission is to spread the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in that mission, you must face problems. You must. It is not smooth sailing at all. Now, as opposed to that, I give examples. I said there is a Christian missionary who goes into the Pacific Islands, leaving his wife behind, goes to convert those people who have never heard the name of any religion, except maybe worshipping their own ancestors. They went there, 4 of them, in the Pacific Islands. You can refer this whole article from the New Geographical magazine. The people did not understand them. They saw white men for the first time, and they thought that these white men must be very good to eat. The flesh must be quite palatable and sweet. So what they did was that they tied them by the poles and they boiled them alive in very big utensils, boiled them alive, and they had a good feast. They carried some mission they could not fulfill. The wives behind, the wives, waited for 3 years. That today or tomorrow we will receive a letter or some news that the husbands have been successful and the people have been converted or not. After 3 years, when they had totally despaired and lost hope, they traveled themselves again for the mission. And when they came to know that the husbands had died and had been killed, they went and worked in the same Pacific jungle, and they converted the whole population to Christianity. Now, which is dearer to us, our lives or our money? Naturally our lives. But there are people who know the value of the mission and they go there and they sacrifice everything for the sake of the mission they hold dear to the heart. We have to understand this, that no work can stop because of some adversities and calamities. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ, we will test you. You come out, the Prophet was tested, A'immah alayhimus salam were tested, and there were trials and tribulations. They don't abandon. Tonight we are discussing about a particular incident in the history of Ahlul Bayt. Salamullah alayhim ajma'in. Where there was a gap and the situation was adverse after the tragedy of Karbala. Now for a moment bear with me, for I'm going to discuss the life and services of Imam Zainul Abidin salawatullah wa salamu alayhi from an angle which might give us opportunity to view it totally differently. The tragedy occurs in Karbala. Imam alayhi salam is martyred, and so are his dear ones. Yes. And then the maximum period of detention of Ahlul Bayt is 1 year. With Ibn Ziyad and then with Yazid, that is in Kufa and in Sham, 1 year. Now consider if you were there, or if we were there living at that time. Our Imam has been martyred. The family is in detention with Yazid. And Imam Zainul Abidin, who is supposed to be the Imam succeeding the Imam, is in the detention, inaccessible. Now can you understand that gap? In that gap of 1 year, or maybe 1.5 years, there were some people who started doubting. There were some people who started leaving, abandoning the maslak of Ahlul Bayt. And because of the tragedy, some of them did not renounce, but they went into taqiyya. That means ostensibly they would not associate themselves with Ahlul Bayt. If anyone asked, they would say, we don't know anything. This was the position, what we call the position of hayrani. Hayrani means not knowing what to do. 1 year and more. Imam alayhi salam came to Medina after release from detention at a time when things were totally out of control. And remember, he had come after having suffered. He himself having suffered detention. He having seen the martyrdom of his dear ones. And as he himself said to some of his friends who told him, Ya Rasul, Ibn Rasulillah, martyrdom is your heritage. And Imam alayhi salam said, you have not been just. If martyrdom is heritage, is it also our heritage to see our mothers and aunts going into the bazaar without parda? Is that also in our heritage? Well, having gone through all the sufferings, now he came to Medina. A man who is not committed to the mission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have said immediately that enough was enough. Now I have suffered so much, I have lost my dear ones, my father has been martyred, my dear ones, companions of my father have gone, and I have remained a detainee for a year, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will look after his affairs himself. But Imam alayhi salam said, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ. These are the tests which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala carries out in his ways. I have to reconnect the whole chain from where it was disconnected. And therefore he put in some extraordinary efforts. In Islamic history, the father of this generation is Adam. And then there was a deluge, what is called Tufan-e-Nuh. And most of the population drowned. Those on the Noah's Ark, they were saved. very few of them, some pairs of animals, some seeds, and some human beings. When they came back and they alighted from the boat, and thereafter they started habitation on this earth again. That is the reason why Nuh is known as second Adam, because life started all over again. In A'imma Ahlul Bayt, Imam Zainul Abidin is known as Adam of A'imma Ahlul Bayt. Because of this connection that took place after Karbala, he started all over again. That is why he is known as Adam wa A'immati Ali Muhammad. He started again. And he instituted three programs. That is what I would like you to understand. What a shame it is that we simply say that for years, because Imam alayhi salam lived for 34 years after Karbala. If we include 61 together, Hijri, 35 years. And we are told just this much, that he, for 35 years, he wept and cried over Karbala. It is true. But just saying that gives an impression that he led a life of seclusion, doing nothing but weeping. There was a program. There was some motivation. The first thing was, as he arrived in Medina, after a few days, immediately, he called some of the people and said, you will have to now travel and spread the word of Ahlul Bayt again. Say with courage, قال علي ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. This is say that Ali has said this, that I heard the Prophet say. Say, without any fear. The promulgation of the teachings of Ahlul Bayt even today go in very hard times. But we do not have to lose courage, for Allah will test us at every step. Fine. After a year, he summoned them for reporting. They came from Kufa, they came from Sham, back with report, and they said, Yabna Rasulullah, people are not listening. Very interesting chapter of history. People are not attentive. We talk to them about Ahlul Bayt, they say, no. There is still fear in their mind. The Karbala has just happened, it is fresh. So, Ya Abda Rasulullah, people are not inclined even to listen to all this. Imam alayhi salam said, who are you sitting with and approaching home? So he said, we approach the elders. Imam alayhi salam said, alaykum bil ahdath. Alaykum bil ahdath. Go back and talk to the youths and don't talk to the old people. Talk to the youths. Because when you talk to the old man is influenced by some experience. His mind has been conditioned to the unpalatable experience. Talk to the young man and spread the word. Alaykum bil ahdath. So they went back. This time they went on meeting young people. And it was because of Imam alayhi salam's efforts that within no time, when the time of Imam Muhammad Baqir came and Imam Ja'far Sadiq, there were 4,000 students sitting at the feet of Imam to learn ulum of Ahlul Bayt. Remember, 4,000 students does not represent the whole community. A community which can produce 4,000 students must be a very large community. The effort starts from Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam. You can't get students like that. You have got to spread the word first. Second thing was, for the people to realize, this was first program, which went up to where we know that we have the maktab today, we have a fiqh today, we have our own philosophy today, and we have our own link to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the second program which he instituted was Azā. I hinted, and I just dropped some hint on the night of 3rd Shaʿbān about Azā. And I reiterate, had there been nothing in Azadari, there would have been no opposition. The opposition to Azadari is because it is a force. It awakens us. People start thinking. Now, for 35 years, Imam alayhi salam repeatedly reminded people how, passing through the bazaar in Sham or in Kufa or in Medina, if there is one who is slaughtering the animal, Imam alayhi salam would stand up and say, brother, have you given water to this animal before you slaughter him? And that fellow would say, Ibn Rasulullah, we don't slaughter any animal without giving water to it first. And then Imam al-Islam would say, yes, that is the sunnah of the Prophet. But in Karbala they did not allow even that. And immediately the whole scenery in the minds would be reenacted and the people would listen. See, so many incidents occurred at his own house. Once a guest came there and he became very friendly with Imam al-Islam. Imam al-Islam said, I'm so happy that you have come. But God forbid, if you were to die here, you are a stranger. Do you expect that you will be buried and you will be given a decent burial? He said, Yabna Rasulillah, with men like you here and with so many Muslim brethren, I am quite confident that I will be given a decent burial with good kafan and all that. Imam al-Islam said, yes, but Ibn al-Fatima was not given. This is how he went on reminding. He went on reminding, and this is the reason why you find in history that Zainul Abidin went on. The blood of Hussein ibn Ali, which was shed on the plains of Karbala, had a purpose behind it, and that purpose has got to be kept alive. Imam Zainul Abidin kept it alive by reminding us again and again and again. And today that institution still lends so much of vigor and life to Islamic institutions. Tell me, my friends sitting here and my sisters sitting behind, so much of us know, mashallah, so much about our religion. Alhamdulillah. Enough is known. How? Is there any madrasa? Huh? MashaAllah, people know so much about their faith and about their religion. How did they come to know about it? I say this because general knowledge about religion in our community is higher. General knowledge. It may not be specific, but general knowledge. Why? Because of majlis of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. For you will find from this mimbar, people of various categories and denominations, people of various stations in life, people of various attainments come here, mashallah, and give us their sermons. And from that sermons, mashallah, we do imbibe as much as we can. This institution is unique, matchless. And the third program which he instituted was then, to teach in circumstances which were not amenable or not even favorable, to teach himself in such a manner that the teaching would remain forever. Now, at that time, if he established a class, it would have been closed down. He would have had all the problems. So he devised a method which, of course, is unique. And that was the method of dua. He went on compiling his dua and supplications. And in the supplications, he taught us, and I'm going to give you two examples of what he taught, because I don't believe in just telling you he taught us. What did he teach and how he taught? If I give the examples, inshallah ta'ala, the matter will be very clear. How he used that particular institution. He gave this dua to his two sons, the whole thing. He gave one to Zayd ibn Ali, Zayd Shaheed. And he gave the other copy to Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam. And at the time of Imam Jafar as-Sadiq, Yahya ibn Isa ibn Zayd came with his own grandfather's copy to Imam Muhammad Baqir and Imam Jafar as-Sadiq, and he actually mashed it. And they found that there was not a single error in either of the manuscripts. So Sahifa as-Sajjādiyya that we have is one of the authentic records that we have ever had. There is no other book which is as authentic as Sahifa as-Sajjādiyya after Quran Majid. Quran Majid, of course, is something which we cannot even compare. That book has not been interpolated, unprofaned by human hands. The only book on earth which has not been profaned. Quran Majid. Right. Now I'm giving you examples. If you look at the contents of Sahifa as-Sajjādiyya, you will find some of the ad'iyah and dua, like about dua for your parents, normal. Dua for your children. Dua for the hard days, that means when the earnings are not good. Say, rizq, tangi, when a man feels that his rizq is not as it should be, shop is not running well, and so on. Dua for grief and sorrow. Dua for the entrance of Ramadan and dua for bidding farewell of Ramadan. Dua for human behavior and makarimul akhlaq. And there is one dua about Muslim or Islamic frontiers. Have you seen that? Sarhad-e-Islami. If there is a Muslim country, there are frontiers, hudud, which in Arabic is called thughur. It has got to be guarded from the attacks of the enemies. So there is a dua for Ahlul Thughur, for those who are on the frontier guarding the country. And now I'm just reading 3 or 4 lines. And you can imagine him it's immediately that is this the dua or is it a teaching? It is in the form of dua. But look at the hint. He says, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Imam alayhi salam says, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Oh Allah, bless the Prophet and his progeny. And then he says, Allahumma kathir iddatahum washhad aslihatahum wamna' hawmatahum wahrus hawzatahum wa'allif jam'ahum wadabbir amrahum. Oh Allah, let their number be great. And you sharpen their weapons. Allah comes and sharpens. The hint is towards the Muslim what they should do. But the approach is to Allah. Allahumma shahad aslihatahum. Sharpen their weapons. Wa'allif jam'ahum. And make their own company full of unity and love. That means in agreement. Wadabbir amrahum. And regulate meticulously every affair and every business of theirs. Wamna' hawmatahum. And guard their boundaries. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Waltuf alayhim fi makrihim. And help them kindly in their strategies. That means they must fix up a strategy. Allahumma arifhum ma jahilu wa allimhum ma la ya'lamun wa absirhum ma la yubsirun. Ya Allah, make it known to them what they don't know. Teach them what they do not know. And show them what they cannot see. That means if you are guarding a frontier, you have got to be alert. He is giving hints to the guards that this is how you should be. But rather than tell them directly, he is telling them in the form of dua. You refer to the dua, immediately you'll find out that these are the things which we have got to do, the guards have got to do, but rather than tell them, he is actually putting it in the form of dua. So you go in every dua. What parents should do for the children is in the form of dua. What the children should do with regard to the parents is in the form of dua. But it is a hint for all of us. Psychologically, there are certain things in life for which man puts in the maximum effort. Appetites. If a man is hungry, when a man is truly hungry, then you know what he can do, what she can do. Hungry, appetite. There are certain drives in human beings which take us to sins and vices. They are extraordinarily strong drives. And if they are, remember what I said, if they are diverted from the vices into something good, you become a genius. Many people ask, Mullah Sahab, how do you remember so many things? What do you eat? There is nothing to eat. What you eat is the same that I eat. Those people who think that by eating badam they will get better memory, they are mistaken. They will unnecessarily push the price of almonds high. Or those who believe that by just rubbing almond oil on your head you will start getting good memory, they are all mistaken. And there are certain people who say, how do you get the determination and will to be able to sit up and read, even at night, in the small hours, to study, to be able to remember, retain, and then impart. And in spite of all that, to do the work and to dispense with the responsibilities. How do we manage this? The secret of all this is that there are drives which we divert from there into the things which we want to do. A monkey was put into the cage and he was given a very long stick. He did not know what to do with that stick. Naturally, a monkey does not know. But a stick was put next. And in the first instance, banana was kept within his reach, outside the cage. So the monkey just extended his hand and got it. Easy. Next time it was kept a bit farther. So he realized that by extending the hand you will not reach. So he rose, came nearer to the gate of that cage, and as he reached nearer, then he extended his hand and he got the fruit and he came back. The third time it was kept still farther. Now, neither can he get it from where he sits, nor can he get after having reason to get it. Now what is the idea? At that time monkey is driven by an appetite. There is a banana there, and monkey is hungry, and that food must be had. What to do? There is no way out. Suddenly the matrix changes. I've got no time to discuss matrix. But the matrix changes from this sort of matrix, now it is this sort of matrix. For the first time the monkey realizes that it has an implement here which it might use. So it catches the stick. The stick whose use he did not know before. And now he realizes that this stick will help him. And he puts the stick out and brings the banana back. Is it not something which we have understood? Humans are the same. Two drives, one hunger and one sex, are the worst drives, and a human being can be driven into the worst of pitfalls when driven by these two very strong passions. And both of them, if not properly regulated, can lead us to ruin. Because If a man is not regulating his appetite and his hunger, he can go for haram also. And the same thing applies for sexual drive. All the psychologists have agreed on this. And even the urafa, that means people of the tasawwuf, and even people of the West, like Paul Brunton and others who have written books on self and over self, yoga and all those things, you read there, you'll find they all have come to this consensus that these two strong drives which we have within us must be diverted for something useful. And the moment you divert it, the other things which normally are dormant suddenly become powerful. Then you find a man who remembers. Then you find a man who has got photographic memory. Then you find a man who is determined to spend every minute of his life for something useful. In spite of all the oddities and adversities, he marches on till he reaches his grave, because he has abandoned so many things. It doesn't mean that he doesn't get married, huh? He gets married, but doesn't get buried in it. Huh? He gets married, but he has got everything. Religion does not banish mirth. It does not banish enjoyment. It regulates it. Makarimul akhlaq. That which is today accepted. Sayyid as-Sajjād Zainul Abidin alayhi salam spoke 14th century. اللهم اجعل ما يلقي الشيطان في روعي من التمني والتظني والحسد ذكرا لعظمتك. Allah. Just think what Imam alayhi salam says. The drive within me which is taking me to vices wants me to do what? Come on, long hopes, craving, wattavanni, and also suspicion about people's intentions, badgumani as we say, wal hasad, and envy. Whenever I see something, it centers around and we enjoy. We enjoy having very long hopes. We enjoy having suspicion about people's intentions, because we can then do ribat. We can then do accusation. And if we cannot do anything, then we can be victim of jealousy and thereby do whatever we like. Imam alayhi salam says, Ya Allah, whenever I enter into such a state, divert this power into something whereby I may try to ponder in your greatness. What a wonderful idea it is. We just read the dua. Imam alayhi salam is asking us to change the rail, to derail it. When you are being pushed into something, just derail it, deviate it, and put that power into something good and see what will happen. Immediately the mind will open, and from the gutter and the rut of jealousy, envy and all that, you will rise above, higher. وَكُلَّمَا أَجْرَى بِهِ لِسَانِي مِنْ لَفْظَةِ فُحْشٍ أَوْ شَتْمٍ أو هجر أو اغتياب مؤمن غائب أو سب حاضر أو كل ما أشبه ذلك نطقا بالحمد لك والشكر لامتنانك. And if I ever indulge or wish to indulge, or if I am drawn into speaking something which is indecent, fuhsh, abuse, whatever, or nonsensical. Hajr means nonsensical. Or hijrin means nonsensical, no meaning, meaningless. Or shatmi irdin, or abusing and reviling people, attacking the honor of people. Or ightiyabi mu'min, or backbiting a mu'min who is not there. Or sabbi hadir, or to abuse someone who is in presence of me. Whenever that force drives me into this, Ya Allah, direct this force from that which is evil to something which is good, so that the same talk which comes out of my mouth becomes remembrance of your greatness and thanksgiving for your ni'mah. Now read Zainul Abidin alayhi salam, read Sayyid as-Sajjād, read Sahifa as-Sajjādiyah, and you will find that this is the treasure that A'immah alayhi salam have left. Zainul Abidin has left his legacy forever. After the tragedy of Karbala, to have left such a huge trove of jewels and gems for the people. Unfortunately, we have this, but we don't ponder over this. If you ponder over the meaning, you'll find that the books that we read in other psychological and philosophical treatises have all been combined, but it is under the name of dua and prayers which he left for us, which is called Sahifa-e-Kamila or Sahifa-e-Sajjād. Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam was born in 38 Hijrah. Either on 15th Jamādil Awwal or on 5th of Shaʿbān, and most of the narrators have narrated 5th of Shaʿbān. In the tragedy of Karbala, 61 Hijrah, Imam Islam's age was between 28 or 29, or 23, 24. Some say 22, 23. There is a very remote and not very reliable report which says that Imam alayhi salam was born in 30 Hijrah, but actually it is 38. His mother was an Iranian princess, Yazd-e-Jar's daughter, Shaḥbān. Though the historians these days have put all sorts of doubt on this, the doubt is not in her being the mother. The doubt is whether she came to Arabia during the time of second Khalifa or third Khalifa. That is the doubt. But there is no doubt that she came, and she was not the only one. There were two sisters. And Imam Hussain alayhi salam married Shaḥbāniyya or Shaḥbānu, and Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam was born. Therefore, he is known as Ibnul Khiyaratain. That means the son of two nobilities. One goes to Banu Hashim, and one goes to the royal family of Iran. But she died. As she gave birth to Imam alayhi salam, in the days of having given birth, soon after that, she passed away. So she was not there in Karbala. And the reference to Banu in the Marsiyas is not to Shaḥbān. I mean, many people don't understand. Banu is correct. But in the Marsiyas, where you get Banu ne rokar kaha, Banu ne kaha, it doesn't mean Bibi Shaḥbānu. Banu means a lady in Persian, in Urdu. Banu ne rokar kaha, any Banu can it be. It can be Zainab, it can be Kulthum, it can be Farwa, it can be anyone. So Banu, which comes in the Martiyas and Nawhas, does not necessarily refer to Hazrat Shaḥbān, because Shaḥbānu was not there. Then he was brought up by a stepmother, and that stepmother was Muhammad ibn Abu Bakr's wife. Muhammad ibn Bakr had died. I only want to say this for our youngsters so that they know what A'immah alayhim salam have left in the form of lesson. This is the last thing I would like to say. Because she brought him up as mother, all in his life, Imam alayhi salam respected her so much that people did not realize the difference, whether it is the real mother or the step. When they would sit for eating, Imam alayhi salam would serve food and would refuse to eat. She knew why Imam alayhi salam is not eating, but people sometimes objected and said, Ibn Rasulullah, you don't eat with your mother? He said, I like to serve her. I like to serve. She is my mother. I like to serve her. But then there are some people who insisted. So he said, look, at times it happened in the past that my hand and her hand together extended together towards one dish. I don't want that to recur. I want her to have independence. She will eat from any dish she likes, Once she has finished, then I will. Because this is a respect for my mother. The mother who had not given him birth, the mother who had just looked after him. And there are so many lessons in life. Inshallah ta'ala, Allah will grant us tawfiq to follow. In these 3 nights we have heard about Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, and we will continue to hear inshallah on the 15th night about the crown of A'immah alayhimus salam.